Welcome. Have you ever stopped to think about the kind of people we let into our lives, the ones who bruise us, heal us, or quietly teach us who we are? If I were given a choice between spending time with someone struggling with their mental health and someone completely void of conscience, I wouldn't hesitate. Give me the one who overthinks, apologizes too much, and cries in therapy. At least they still feel. At least they're still human. This realization didn't come during a spiritual retreat or a motivational podcast. It arrived, as all profound things do, under harsh fluorescent lights and the smell of burnt coffee. It was one of those long night shifts with Marjorie, my colleague, accidental therapist, and the only person capable of dropping philosophical truth bombs while reheating a burrito. If you've ever worked through the night, you know how strange those hours can be. Between midnight and sunrise, everything blurs: logic, emotion, caffeine, even your sense of time. By coffee number 3 and identity crisis number 4, the conversations turn deep. And somewhere between laughter and exhaustion, I said, I think I just attract mentally ill people. Marjorie looked up, one eyebrow raised, the kind of look that always means you're about to be humbled. Then she said, no, John. Those weren't mentally ill people. They were people without a conscience. It took me a second to process, because I had never truly considered that distinction before. Mental illness and moral emptiness are not the same. One struggles because they care too much. The other doesn't struggle at all because they feel nothing. People without a conscience are not in pain, that's the problem. They don't feel guilt, or shame, or remorse. They simply use, discard, and move on. Charming at first, helpful when it benefits them, but the moment you need honesty or boundaries, the mask slips. And somehow, you end up looking like the unstable one. Now compare that to someone living with depression, anxiety, or trauma. Yes, they might cry at cereal commercials, and yes, they might vanish mid-conversation, but their conscience is alive and working overtime. They care. They feel. They want to do better. That's what makes them human. We pour endless compassion into mental health, and rightly so. There are therapy apps, support hotlines, and soft-voiced Instagram posts reminding us to breathe. But what do we do for people with no conscience? Nothing. We date them. We promote them. Sometimes, we even elect them. And later, we sit in therapy wondering why we ignored the signs. At one point, I asked Marjorie, do people like that ever face consequences? She smiled that slow, why smile that always means the answer isn't simple. If you believe in karma, yes. If you believe in God, even better. But even if you believe in nothing, remember the universe doesn't lose receipts. And she was right. It may take time, but life has a way of circling back. Actions echo, even when we pretend not to hear them. So if I had to choose again, I'd still take the anxious overthinker who says sorry too often. Because a person with a conscience can change, heal, and grow. A person without one doesn't think they need to. That's the real danger, not madness, but moral vacancy. So here's to Marjorie, and to every truth that arrives wrapped in sarcasm and microwave light, for reminding me that not all damage is psychological, some of it is just plain ethical decay. When someone hurts you, don't rush to call them unstable. Ask yourself this instead: is this a person in pain, or a person who plays life with no rules at all? Once you see the difference, you can't unsee it. And honestly, that lesson deserves a billboard right next to, don't date people who smile while apologizing. Let's stop confusing brokenness with cruelty. Let's give grace to those who are trying and distance to those who aren't. Because being flawed is fine. Being conscience-free is not. Thank you for listening and for choosing empathy over emptiness.